Hey guys, it's Everything Money. Seth, Paul, and Mo. We are here. We love bringing you guys mindset videos. This is not about a stock or numbers. Paul, you think in general and have told me for years and our followers that investing is all about mindset. We recently had the pleasure of interviewing the great investor Mohnish Pabrai in his office at Austin, and we learned a lot of things, Paul. We wanted to guys bring you some thoughts about thinking independently, listening to your peers, and coming up with your own process. So, Paul, take it away. What do you think, baby? I love you. Go ahead.
So, Mohnish, great interview. Loved it. He's a brilliant man. I mean, his returns are insane. He was making great returns in the 90s on value plays that were boring in the 90s, right? But the one thing I realized from the interview was fundamentally, value investors have a lot of the same beliefs. We talk in the same language. But we still evaluate things differently. He said a few things that I didn't agree with. I mean, I remember pushing back on him and saying, well, wait a second, I don't agree with you on this one. And he took it very well. One thing that was interesting to me was there's another guy I talk about a lot, Gary Mashuras, who I've invested in, a good friend of Mo's and I. He's the one that we read Security Analysis with, and it was an awful book. But I was talking to Gary last year about Tesla. And Gary said something very interesting to me. He almost, I think last year was at $600 a share or something like that at the time. And he said, I don't consider $600 a share 6 times more overpriced than $100 a share. He's like, it's still insanely overpriced for Tesla. Insane. He goes, it's the same at 100 versus 600. It's still insanely overpriced for both those. But then yesterday I said something in Mohnish about, obvious bubbles out there like Tesla. And he said, well, I don't know if Tesla's a bubble.
Yeah, he pumped the brakes pretty quick, Paul. I mean, you brought up companies like Tesla and Microsoft, and he really wanted to put those two companies on his desk pile of I don't get it as opposed to overpriced. And you really fought him on that. Explain.
Yeah, I don't. By the way, for the record, I don't believe Microsoft's on the same level of Tesla. I think Microsoft's overpriced. I don't think it's a bubble. I think Tesla's a bubble for multiple reasons. One, insanely high valuations, and two, the euphoric, I love Elon, I love Tesla, it's the best car ever, therefore, boom. But he was looking at it and saying, well, there's some positives to Tesla. And he went through and he had very good points about the positive Tesla. And guess what? My next response, and I don't think I said this, was every bubble has positives. There are positives to every single bubble. And he even says in the video, there's a kernel of truth to every bubble, and he's 100% right.
Yeah, I like that, Paul, because he's right. Yeah, the car bubble, the .com bubble, the Tronics bubble. I liked how he said that. I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, well, Buffett says every bubble is based on a fundamentally good belief. Housing, you should own a home. It's a good way to build wealth. Home prices always go up over, they've never gone down as a nation. All of a sudden, it becomes this bubble. And all of a sudden, it does go down as a nation. It does have problems, et cetera. So you hear these things and think, okay, here are two guys I respect, plus me, plus Mo. We're all value investors. We all think extremely similar. Our overlying views are the same. But it's kind of like any sport you play. Look at Steph Curry. He just beat Ray Allen for the most threes in history yesterday. But does he have the same shot as Ray Allen? No, he has a different form. He does shots differently. He trains differently. But that's kind of the way I look at value investing. Us as value investors have the same fundamental beliefs, but we still look at things differently. Doesn't mean he's right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and he's wrong. Whatever it is, the point is we have same fundamental beliefs. That's why it's important to think independently. Because I can honestly tell you this. I don't care what Mohnish says to me. I'm not buying Tesla because I do think it's a bubble. I don't get it at all. I think it's more than massively overpriced. I wouldn't buy Tesla at 100, and I wouldn't buy it at 950 where it's at today. So to me, that's what the definition of bubble is. The too hard pile to me is I don't understand Bitcoin. I don't know if I should buy Bitcoin. I don't know what Bitcoin is worth, whether it's $1, 10, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million per Bitcoin. I don't understand that valuation. That is what makes it too hard for me.
All right.
So, when Mo and I talk about companies, Mo, how often do we disagree on growth numbers and look at Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. They always say, go ahead.
No, it's funny because when Buffett and Munger say that they disagree, they're never going to come up with the same value of a company. I was like, really? How is that? And then I see you and I in our daily lives and we do it, and it's almost on every single company. I mean, we're in the same realm, but there is there's a discrepancy, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's the discussion part.
Yep. And Mo will bring up, valid points about something. I'll bring up, and I tend to be more conservative, I think, than most people, but I have a different approach. I mean, the difference between Mo and I is I've got 8 or 9 businesses out here, all generating me cash flow. I've got a ton of things going on. I've got 600 apartments, and that's down from 1,000. And we're going to have 3,000 apartments in the next 10 years. Mo's not going to have that. I am. So I can be a lot more picky about my investments. Mo doesn't need to be. He can be a little more aggressive. So every investor is different. That's the point of being independent. We have over 6,000 people in our community who chat every single day, exchange thousands of messages on our software. I always tell them, there's no way I'm the best investor out of everybody. There is zero chance. Mo, do you think you're the best trader out of everybody in your Bitcoin Nation?
No.
And your Bitcoin Nation's what, 900 people, 1,000 people, and you sit there and say you're not the best trader. I mean, Seth, one of your good friends, one of our good friends, he's a doctor. He's done a great job trading.
Yeah,
love him. I love hearing this. He texts me like, "Oh, I made 2.4% today. I made this." It's like, that's awesome. And we all want to think independently, but because we have this YouTube channel with a bunch of subscribers, everybody looks at me and says, "Oh, Paul's a great investor." It's like, I am a good investor. I don't know if I'm great or not, but I'm a really good investor. I think the right way. I have the patience of it. Alibaba has been the best because it has displayed our patience and our resolve in this whole situation. Because I started buying Alibaba at 184, and what is it at right now? By the way, I don't even. That's the whole point. I don't even look at the stock. I don't even know what it's at right now. It is at.
This has been the real test 120. Of 120. Okay. This has been the real test to show.
I don't care.
Do you have the patience?
Yeah. So Paul, bring it all home. What's the take? What's the take home to new investors?
Go learn as much as you can. Be confident. Get other people's opinions that you respect. Go find out other people. Hey, I respect this person. What do they say about this? I love it. It's great. It's awesome. But you've really got to make sure that you have your own thought process and you buy in your own terms. I've missed out on deals because of listening to people that I trusted when I felt a certain way about a company. They're going to be wrong too, guys. They make mistakes all the time. A phenomenal investor will be right 50% of the time, which means 50% of the time they're wrong. And that's a phenomenal investor. So just keep that in mind every single time you sit there and worry about like what I'm doing, what Mohnish is doing, what Buffett's doing, what Munger is doing, et cetera. Just think independently.
If this message resonates with you, you can join our community. You can join that chat of over 6,000 people. You can join Mo and he'll trade with you on a daily basis. All of this at everythingmoney.com. You can join right at everythingmoney.com or go to Patreon. You'll pay less at everythingmoney.com. And you can join our community, get our software, watch more of our videos and learn the language that Paul's talking about, as well as learning this mindset that you need. The defining foundation that you'll need to invest is this mindset, and we'll always be here to walk you through it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mo. Fondle a thumbs up, guys, and we will see you next video. Appreciate it.